Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Again, hope you're well and that you're having a good morning or afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for being here, for stopping by for a few minutes to have a conversation about something that might be on your mind. I've chosen a topic today that may not be of interest to every single person, but certainly being healthy and state of well-being is, I think, the priority for so many of us, and especially as we start the new year. We look at our bodies and they're changing, changing in so many different ways. But I always find that starting with a cup of tea helps. So, starting this morning, I have a yogi tea. I have no idea where this tea came from. I think my son must have left it here when he was here earlier in the year, but it's called lakritz. And it's actually a yogi tea, and it's got the most interesting ingredients in it. It's got cardamom and cloves, cinnamon. It has orange, chicory, I said already. It has orange leaves and lemon. It's like a spice. It's a spice tea, and it actually is really good. It seems that there's lemon in there too, but I can't see that in the ingredients. Anyway, lakritz. There we are. So I'm having my morning cup of tea, my mystery tea, my beautiful mug. So I hope you're doing great and have a drink or something to settle down, relax for a few minutes. So our bodies, yes, they are changing. Crazy things happen. We have a fabulous blogger. Her name is Linda Malone, and she wrote this article. And actually, I'm going to just read the first part of the article because it's so funny. And she's quite a funny writer, but she's got great research in her article. So if you have any questions about any of the stuff we talk about today, just go to read the article. We'll put a link in there, and it's super helpful. The article is called "4 Proven Ways to Get Rid of Belly Fat After Menopause." So anyway, here she goes. It says, "It strikes without warning. One day you're strolling along thinking, I've got this hang of this thing called life." And then bam, it hits you when you try to zip up your pants. A reminder that you're not yet done with every challenge. And then she says, yeah, of course you got it, belly fat. Now, the interesting thing about this is that there seem to be all kinds of related issues around it. So we're going to go through the 4 ways that she says you can address it. And in doing that, she'll talk a little bit about how it happens. Now, I guess the key theme here is that it's a hormonal shift that causes this challenge. The first thing is that women, as we have grown up, basically have a lot of estrogen in our bodies, as you know, that's kind of part of our structure, and that stores our fat in our hips and our thighs. Men who have more testosterone in their bodies tend to store their fat in their tummies. Okay, in their belly. So you see a lot of men with a bigger belly. So that's the underpinning of hormonal havoc that goes on with belly fat. But basically, it's really simple. Once you start reducing your estrogen production as you get older, the fat storing mode shifts to more of the male model, which is to store your fat in your stomach. Now, this is actually, it's not a big deal about it. If you have a bit of a tummy, it's not a big deal, but it's when it starts to become an excess weight. And the reason that that's important is that estrogen, for one thing, is really important for healthy heart. So it's kind of important that we, keep the estrogen levels up with foods, and some people take supplements, but that's the kind of the groundwork for the issue with belly fat. And so anyway, you've got it in your stomach, and stress, of course, causes that to even get increase. So because it produces a hormone called cortisol, which then amplifies the production of the fat in your stomach. So there you go. That's kind of the background to it. So that's the first thing to understand is hormonal havoc that's going on here. And there's also metabolic slowdown. Now, you can't really blame your metabolism I have a slow metabolism and blame that on everything that, you're experiencing in your body, but it does make a difference. And this starts in your 30s. I mean, this isn't something that happens when you're 60. Your metabolism starts to shift and you start losing muscle mass in your 30s. And then by the time you're in your 60s, you actually have lost quite a bit of muscle mass. And you can say it doesn't matter, and you're just going to live with it as is, and that's totally cool if you're happy with it. But really, there's a lot of evidence to say that it's good to do some kind of cardio exercise, and also muscle building, like weights or lifting weights. The reason for this apparently is that muscle burns more calories when you're at rest than fat. And again, the article points to all kinds of research on this, but it's basically that the more muscle you have, the quicker you'll burn calories and keep your weight under control. So we tend to move less as we age. I mean, part of that's because sometimes we develop physical situations that require us to take it easy and watch the movement. But a lot of it is just that, and part of it's computers and our technology reality, that we just don't move as much. So that also does impact muscle mass, which in turn impacts the amount of calories that we burn. And the fat stays where it is. It doesn't move. So anyway, the thing is, if you can do both, a little cardio, walking, or on an elliptical, or if you go to the gym, and combined with some weights. And I trip over my weights every day because I put them on the floor where I will see them every single day, and I go, okay, pick them up, and then I do maybe 20, just little lifts, and it's all I can do. I'm not a big gym person, as you all know. So anyway, that's the kind of thing. Cardio and weights, build your muscle mass. That's the next thing. She also talks about this whole concept of mindfulness and focus. That if you can somehow calm yourself and practice meditation or any kind of mindfulness practice, you can actually then start a chemical process in your body that increases your the burning of fat. And it's just another study that's been done. I think it was by Harvard. You look in the article there, and it talks about how this mindfulness and calming down actually also helps you. And that's related, as I said, to the earlier production of cortisol, which is a stress hormone that your body generates when you're under pressure. So just chilling out a bit, using mindfulness or meditation can help you to get that belly fat under control. So that's important metabolic. Now, the other thing that she talks about is your food. Now, this is an obvious one, and maybe the one that we approach more directly, because we know that with food, we can control what we put in. Like cortisol kind of sounds very abstract, and where does that come from and how does it work? But with food, we actually know what foods are good for us, which foods produce, which fats are good for us and produce the right chemicals for a healthy body. And don't forget, it's not just physical health, it's actually your emotional as well. So I think it's a whole sort of connection towards our well-being in our 60s. Well, really at any age. But anyway, we need fat to survive. So eliminating fat from your diet is not, according to Linda, the way to go. And, we know this. We know that everything in moderation is really the mantra. That saturated fats, like those fats that kind of are solid at room temperature, like Crisco, those kinds of lards and fats, those are definitely not so good for your body. But the polyunsaturated fats are a better choice. So the sunflower, or you can list all the different types of oils. But I think that's really, really important to understand that don't cut out fats from your diet thinking that fat sounds like fat, and that's going to increase your belly fat. It's not. Just choose wisely. Now, I did actually talk about this. I'm reading through the notes here, but basically, weights are super important. Just get 5-pound weights if that's all you need, or some tins of soup, anything that's going to give you that kind of weight training opportunity. And maybe after every 60andMe video, make it a ritual to go maybe get another cup of tea or something, but also to pick up your weights and just do some lifting. So anyway, back to food though. I think this is super important, is that in terms of fats, we've talked about that, just watch the right kind of fats, but also it's the fiber in your body. feast on fiber is what Linda says. And this is foods, these are foods that you may not realize that have fiber. I mean, there are some that are pretty obvious, but like beans, for example, black beans, peas, not peas, or split peas, the kind, or lentils, those kind of pulses. Those are super high in fiber. Another one is raspberries. So throw a few raspberries on your yogurt. It's got fiber. They're very high in fiber. As well as figs. I never even thought about this one. I love figs, actually, but figs are something that you should definitely try eating because they are super high in fiber. So those are some, and avocados are another thing that's great for fiber. So those are some things that you can incorporate into your diet, not your diet. Don't try to diet unless you are watching your food in a structured way, but just your food intake, and include lots and lots of fiber. Super important. And hydrate. Make sure you're drinking lots of water. So, the topic today is about belly fat, but it's really about well-being, and it's about the things that contribute hormonally to the changes in your body. So take a look at the article by Linda and be inspired. And if you've got any, tricks and tips that you've discovered to kind of get your body feeling great in your 60s, let's leave them in the comments section, and we can learn from each other. So, hope that's been useful. I'd love to, ask you, what healthy eating tips are you incorporating into your lifestyle? Share with us what you're doing. It'd be really great to know. So, have a fabulous day. Go walk around the block a few times. Go down to the park. Get some exercise. Lift those weights. Eat a great meal, and just take care. And we'll speak to you all again really soon. Bye bye for now.